Hello, members and friends in the Penn West Conference. This is the third video that I will have produced for the home page of our website, in which I have used the theme, the Great Commandment. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. In the first video, which came out on the 16th of March, we talked about what was happening as things were moving into what Governor Wolf would eventually call the red phase. And then on May the 3rd, a number of our churches were beginning to move into what Governor Wolf refers to as the yellow phase. And now here we are on the 24th of May, Memorial Day weekend. And in the state of Maryland, in Garrett and Allegheny counties, we are in what Governor Hogan refers to as Stage 1, which, as I understand it, is roughly, not completely, but roughly an equivalent of the yellow phase, because limited attendance at gatherings is what is stated. In Stage 2 of Governor Hogan's plan, it seems to be more akin to the green phase, where indoor religious gatherings are permitted. And Stage 3 is a freer stage even than Stage 2. Now, here in the state of Pennsylvania, Huntington and Beaver counties are still in Governor Wolf's red phase, and that is scheduled to come to an end this Friday on May 29th. And also on May 29th, there are some churches in some of our northern counties in the Clarion Association, which will be moving into the green phase. And I imagine that there will be other counties in Pennsylvania in the coming weeks that may be moving to that same green phase soon. So what I want to provide for you in this video is some thoughts and some words of advice for all three of the phases, because there has been and there may continue to be some flux and change in the phases, and we're not sure exactly how it's all going to play out. Now, for the red phase, this is a phase in which our in-person gatherings have been discouraged, and where I have strongly urged that local churches not have in-person worship. In the yellow phase, I see that as a time and an opportunity for churches to plan and to prepare for the green phase. This is a wonderful opportunity to establish teams in order to establish protocols for many things that will be needed in the green phase. Things such as the wearing of masks, congregational singing, which has been discouraged, hand sanitizing, social distancing protocols, how that all is going to logistically play out in the spaces of our sanctuaries. Ventilation, how well ventilated are our spaces, and what kinds of spaces will we be using and at what times. The cleaning and sanitizing of spaces in timely manners, the tangibles, the things that are touched, from hymnals to bulletins to light switches, offering plates, and to the sacraments and rites of the church, how these logistically will be carried out. There is a lot to think through in that yellow phase. And we have in the United Church of Christ what we refer to as extravagant hospitality. How do we practice that in this strange and unusual time? And when a line may appear to be crossed by someone, how do we respond to it? Again, I have urged a minimal amount of policing on these kinds of things and a maximum amount of buy-in from people, because we are seeking together to protect the most vulnerable among us. And so my hope and prayer is that as Christians, we will do so faithfully. It's also been suggested that perhaps a kind of hybrid between online experiences for worship and fellowship, in addition to the time that is spent in worship, may be very helpful in terms of opportunities to connect in ways that may be deeper than we would be able to connect in person during the challenges of the coronavirus pandemic. As we implement the changes that I have just shared as churches move into that green phase, There are numerous links that I will be sharing on the website and in communications about this video. I urge you to look at those links, and some of those links include recommendations from the CDC and from the Maryland and Pennsylvania Departments of Health. And these are things that hopefully you will find helpful, resources you can use as you plan your work and work your plan. But I want to add to this that just because you as a church can do these things in terms of reopening does not mean that you must. From our national setting to ecumenical settings, we have been urging caution across the board on this kind of thing. As I've said before, my plan is to continue to give, continue to support financially the work of our church and the work of the conference, but that I won't be attending Sunday morning worship in our churches in the Penn West Conference until all of our churches are in the green phase and Governor Hogan's equivalent stage 2, rough equivalent stage 2. And I have invited others to join me in this. You know, ultimately, we are not accountable to any one person. You're not accountable to me on this. And we're not accountable to any given religious leaders or political leaders. Ultimately, sisters and brothers, siblings in Christ, we are accountable to God. And my concern during this time, my genuine, heartfelt concern, is that I do not want to give advice that does not come from the heart of the gospel and that could lead to anyone's suffering or even death. I don't want to look back at this moment and say, if only I could have, if this tragedy could have been avoided, if only I could have urged for a little more patience. The Christian church, the Christian community has and will survive the challenges of this time. And I have faith that we will not only survive the challenges of this time, but that we will thrive and grow in ways that we may not see or expect in the midst of the difficulties of this moment. So my prayer is that this may be an opportunity for us not to divide, but to unite, and to truly trust in God, and to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, all our souls, all our minds, and all our strength, and our neighbor as ourselves. Thank you, and God bless you.